So, welcome everybody to the inaugural first jump off of the First Step podcast, where we get industry professionals, people who are living their dream, who have been through the vineyard, who have struggled and came out on the other side to realize what they had envisioned in themselves and bring it to a reality. And the mission is to get these people to share with us the steps that they took to get them to where they are today. So I think it's befitting that the first person we have on this podcast is a good friend of mine. We go way back. Um, the gentleman, Mr. Ken Simmons. Ken has been inspiration to many people, including myself, in the approach that he has um, used to bring himself to the stage that he is right now. And he is some of his caps that he would wear would be entrepreneur with his brand of fitness, Good Fit. He is a radio personality and a very well recognized voice host, voice talent that would have done many ads that we all would have heard. So, Ken, I want to welcome you, and I want to really extend my appreciation for you taking the time under these conditions. You know, we're under this COVID-19 situation, but I really appreciate the time that you took to lend to us to, get a little insight into your world and how you made it happen. I want to start actually by giving a little story about about 25 years ago, right? 25 years ago, I don't know, 15 years. I'm 40-year-old man now, yeah? I went to Eldo dance. Eldo senior come. That back in those days. So, I mean, they had the biggest dance in the country. And we had outside, you had to stand up outside the gate to get in. It's like ram. Hundreds of people outside the gate. And I remember there with my partner, and we waiting with the hundreds of other people. Now my father is a teacher in the school. I should have just walked in. All of a sudden I just see the crowd parting like the Red Sea. And I see this giant of a man with some giant gold bracelets on his hand and about three other men behind him clear the crowd straight up to the front gate and inside. And I say, but who is this man? And I only hear people whispering, that's Ken, boy, that's Ken, that's Ken. And now I am here with it. And we moved from that to playing football together and all of that, And now we're here today. So I want to ask you, Ken, that person 25 years ago, where does he live in you today? Which part? Is he still there? Is he redefined? Is he hidden away? What's going on with him?
Well, first and foremost, well, boy, when you gave that story, when you started that story, I said, "But listen, my brother, memory is on point." Yeah, we go way back. That's just to tell you how long we have known each other. That person is just a figment of my imagination right now. I remember that person. It's just that the focus then was different to what it is now. It's the same energy, but just a different direction. So sometimes when we look at people doing wrong and we say they are menace to society, sometimes we look at the negative, but we don't see things or try to see things differently. Because that negative energy, once directed properly, once having the right focus, can turn into great positives. Mm-hmm. So for me, I'm an extremist, and there's no gray area. Even for those who have any history or have any knowledge of the Bible and Christianity, God says, because you're not hot or cold, you're lukewarm, I spew you out of my mouth. And I think God really does not like that gray area in between average. It's either you're hot or you're cold. So we want to focus with intensity in a particular direction, in a particular area based on your beliefs. And that time I believe that for me to be noticed, for me to be recognized, for me to feel on top, superior.
Right.
I had to represent and be looked upon as a bad boy, a gangster, a rude boy.
Right.
And the company that I kept fueled that for me. And I've developed a reputation back then in relation to that. They used to call me Tizik back then. So because I was very hasty. And it's just over a period of time, understanding, learning things. Now I recognize that, listen, I view life differently. I learned some things about myself. And when I see people who names are calling, even in Trinidad and Tobago here, who they refer to as community leaders, who is really, you know, crime bosses.
Right.
Really and truly is just they have the potential to be phenomenal, great businessmen and women, great people who could contribute to society, but then they just choose to contribute towards more of the negative because of their focus and their level of understanding. That's all.
You see, and what then? That's a really good point, because I always say that some of these guys, especially the bosses, as you say, the leaders, are brilliant individuals. If you probably put aside, and we're all brilliant in some aspect, right? But these guys, to be able to command a body of people and lead them in a certain direction, in this case might be negative, it does take a certain level of intelligence and confidence in yourself and belief in yourself to take you to those levels. But I want to ask you, what made the transition for you? As you said, you are an extremist, and I remember playing football with you in the earlys. When we started, I guess that stage of your life probably was transitioning a bit. You started moving away from that lifestyle, and but even the approach to football is like, this man, I wouldn't say you was playing football from birth, but at that stage, you'd committed to the game. You'd be earliest coming up on the field. You're working hardest. You're going hard. You want to do everything, And what was the catalyst, or what was the springboard for you to move from that lifestyle into starting now to put, I guess, more structure, positive structure to yourself?
Right. Being aware of yourself. Now, back then I didn't know, but looking back at it now, as I say, you asked me if that person lives still. It's just now a figment of my imagination, because all that is the now, is the present. And sometimes we live so much in the past that we don't pay attention to right now, because life happens in the now.
Right.
And our mind does not know whether we are actually experiencing something, or is it a figment of our imagination, and our body responds. So hence the reason why things happen to us. But in terms of the transition that took place, I recognized back then that I was searching for approval, and I didn't get it. I was searching for things and looking for it in the wrong places. And I was actually in a relationship with a woman at the time where I can pinpoint that turn started, that transformation started. I was actually charged for malicious wounding in 1998. I chopped up a man in a Rima. That's a borough in Trinidad and Tobago, for those who are not familiar with the name Arima. So out of that now, and being in the court and seeing my mother crying, long tears, bags under her eyes. Not everybody has a good relationship with their parents. But if you do, regardless of how bad you are, how of a killer you are, if you have any kind of respect and love for your mother, it will have a soft spot in your heart. So when I saw that, I was moved. I said, listen, silently, I didn't express it verbally, but I said to myself, I had to do something. I had to make a change. And the lady who was with me at the time, my girlfriend at the time, she says, well, why not come to my mother's church, right? We could go and see how it is. And I just went out of curiosity. So okay, right, let me go and see, because I'm never really interested in that. And when I went to the church, the speaker, the preacher, was preaching exactly how I was feeling on the inside.
Wow.
And it's there I recognize the power of the spoken word. That once spoken in time, and the scripture refers it to as a rhema word. There's the logos, which is the written word that is eternal and that is set. But a word in season to say, yo, boy, going through this. It was the word that quickened me, right? It stirred something in me, that something has to happen. I don't know what has to be done, but I was feeling something inside. I was feeling emotional. I was feeling touch from the inside.
Right.
Because we are emotional beings. So it started there, and I gave my heart to Christ, and it was over a period of time where the transition.
Right.
So it's not just, but at that point, it was the starting point of, yes, something has to transpire, something has to happen. And I could remember vividly, and I always tell this story. When the call was made to accept Christ into my life, I could remember closing my eyes in front of the altar, and when I was closing my eyes, the vision that I saw was very, very vivid. I experienced that, and I never experienced that in that way before, after. When I closed my eyes, I saw people like they were like dancing and having fun, and they were going to the edge of this cliff, and they were none aware that there was a cliff and a lot of fire down in that particular cliff, and they were
Right.
going and dancing, and they just keep falling and falling and falling.
None
And
the
I
wiser.
never forget that. None the wise.
Wow.
Excuse me, none the wiser. So when that happened, I said, listen, it stuck with me. And that vision keep playing over and over, and probably that kept me from straying away. Because sometimes we experience something for 1 minute, and then we forget it.
Right.
But I think God had it in such a way to keep that image in my mind, to actually keep me on a path long enough for a transformation to take place in my life.
So all right. So with these transformative experiences, right? Going to meet with your friend who took you to church, being moved to go to the altar call and having this vision. You then, it was like cold turkey. You decided at that point you're gonna switch up. I'm assuming, right? And
Yeah.
go and turn your life around. I guess initially give committing your life to God, to
Yeah.
Christ, and all that.
Yeah.
And you being the personality that you have now, how much of it in terms of your personality you think contributes, the innate Ken, the personality was, as you said, is the extremist, contributes to how you go about achieving now in terms of your being the radio personality, having grit fit, motivational speaking, all those things. How much you think the personality or the attitude of the extremist, as you say, or you think it have other things that go along with that as well, like I don't know if it's a routine or committing to,
Right.
because plenty times people just have like, hey boy, I get moved in the spirit, yeah. And I'm not
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
just church alone, but you just might see
I
a video where
understand.
you hear a man talking to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
how
understand.
you were able to move that from the moment into ongoing.
No, naturally we are slow to react and slow to move. We are.
Right.
I think what contributed is that if you sense something, we're always inspired, we get hunches, but because of insecurity in ourselves, insecurity of the outcome, we don't like to feel vulnerable, and we don't like to be depending on a situation. If a situation is familiar, that's fine, we rush into it, but we procrastinate too long. But so I think for me, I didn't know, and it was cold turkey. I did it, but even afterwards there was struggle. Of course I struggle. I remember a time I was coming out of the church at the time, and some fellows was passing in a car, hard pong, and they're looking at me. And they were whispering something. They probably were saying, "That is it, probably." And I had my Bible in my hand, and I was hiding it. And it's then I recognized, but said, listen, I wasn't ashamed to put a gun in my waist or to do somebody some harm, but because I'm doing good and want to live a clean and healthy life, I'm ashamed of that. And then I say, listen, something is wrong. So I always question. I ask myself certain questions. Sometimes we do things without asking ourselves questions. Right. So I ask myself certain questions that I say, listen, this can't be right. And then when I read, within the scriptures, it says, if you're ashamed of me before men, I'll be ashamed of you before my Father. So the word helped me, the logos helped me, my own, inquisitive nature, wanting to find out more, how, why, and keep asking myself that question. Right. Over a period of time, it was a transition. But generally, to the person who I am today, I'm quick to act. Action is very important. A lot of us, we quote certain things, we listen to certain things, but we are slow to act. Once all the facts that are available to you, even though that you may not know exactly, we don't know how things are going to turn out. But the ultimate thing is that we are afraid of criticism, and we are afraid. Mm-hmm. We don't put things out. We procrastinate. We think about what other people may think of us. But he don't know how to do that just so, and all that. And we hear those voices in our heads, and it causes us to be stagnant and to procrastinate on an idea that could have propelled us into something great. Yeah. So having the courage, you say, boy, yeah, it has some belly, so just do it. You will always be misinterpreted. People will always view you a particular way because we all occupy the same space, which is the world, right? Mm-hmm. Right? This physical world, mm-hmm. but really and truly, we live in different awareness and understanding, because of our level of thinking, right? So we occupy this world, we occupy this space. You would be interacting with people, but because of someone's level of understanding and how they view life, right? They see things differently. With this pandemic that is happening globally, some people are putting on weight, some people are more lazy, they feel depressed, while others are taking this opportunity to improve themselves. They say, listen, this is an opportunity to work on the things that I always said to myself I would have done and never had the time. Yeah. Now I have the time to do it, Yeah. So people are responding to this pandemic differently because of their understanding.
Right. And I think a lot of times you said some really critical things, and procrastination is a zombie that is right plenty people back, myself included. And right. I think a big part of it, sometimes you need to just look within and really figure out what the cause might be. And you're right, sometimes is a big part of it actually might just be fear. Fear, judgment, fear, and it's really fear judgment, because if it's up to you and nobody was judging, you do what you want, right? But I think you're right. A big part, or it could be just straight up laziness, right? You just didn't feel the gap, right? You prefer to watch TV or whatever, and that's
yeah.
But you're right. I think a big kickback in a lot of people is fear. So like when you said you were going about your business and you come out of the church, holding the Bible, and them fellas see you on the street, and you don't even know what they said, right? You don't even know.
No, I just assume.
You assume, and that's the thing. You don't assume. You assume. You put that in your own head.
Exactly.
That them fellas
and it may not be that.
Ken doing good, boy. Them Ken really doing good. He going to church, but you think you think the same way.
That is the predicament. That is the predicament, and that is what, and we make up stories in our head, and it may not be so. Yeah. And they're probably looking and whispering. They probably didn't even know me, right? Because I didn't recognize them. But of course I was known, and people would know me, and I don't know them. So you don't know, and I make up stories in my head, and that is what the power of imagination is about. So as we imagine something bad happening to us, how about if we use our imagination of something good? And again, as I mentioned before, your body does not know whether you're actually experiencing an event or it's just imagined, and it responds accordingly.
True. Same
So
response.
so
Same.
same response. So
Yeah.
if you're thinking and imagining something stressful, oh God, I'm gonna lose my job, how I'm gonna feed my family, I might get sick, right? You're putting your body in a stress mode, flight or fight
Right.
response,
Right.
all right, and then you're releasing that cortisol level, high levels of stress, and you're putting yourself more at risk for disease. So again, your imagination is powerful, and again,
Right.
if we understand how the human mind works, we view life differently, we treat people differently, and of course we approach ourselves and how we do things on a daily basis differently
Yeah, for
once we
sure.
fully understand it.
For sure. And I think a lot of times in as you said, you're taught, and you, so that is why again you probably go back to the power of the word, because your words then would influence what your mind, or your mind influence your words, or vice versa, right? And then that
Right.
influences your action, or your body. So a simple thought of say sometimes you're just thinking of, if somebody says sour lime, your mouth starts salivating in response to the just the
Yeah.
thought of, the
Yeah.
lime. You ain't even have a lime nowhere close to you,
Yeah.
not even in your
Yeah.
side. So you're right. and
Yeah.
and, and we don't even realize that, because we just going about your business, none the wiser. I want to
And
fight.
that and
Go ahead, go ahead.
no, just to interject there, and that is why it's so important, even at this time, depending on what time people are viewing this particular podcast. That is why I tell people, limit the amount of news that you watch, because when these media sites whole day every day they're feeding you all that negativity, it paints an image in your mind, and now it affects, it translates into your
Physically.
psyche, your physically, you're paranoid, you start to cough, you feel like, oh gosh, like I get something,
It's
right? you
true.
you create you create it. It's like, oh gosh,
It's true.
you know
You would
it it
believe.
it
Yeah, yeah.
it
It's
does
true.
that.
It's true. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
like when this whole COVID thing started, right? But I feel like I'm the strongest African in the world, right? I might be skinny, but I'm bad. So this COVID thing start, and I normally don't get sick, right? I didn't got to knock on no wood. I don't believe that. Right? It's just something I
Right,
don't put in myself, right?
right, right.
So the COVID thing going on, and because I started listening to the media, my throat started scratch me. So I asked my wife, "Dear, what is the symptoms for this COVID, man?" I don't even know. So throat started scratch. She said, "Well, your nose had a run," and I said, "What going on with me?" And it's just, you're right. It's just the thought. My body started
Yeah,
responding
is
to
it
that.
so?
Yeah,
That is to tell you how powerful your thoughts are. Literally, your thoughts create your reality.
you're right.
Literally, what a man thinks about, so is he.
Yeah,
Earl Nightingale says, "You become what you think about." So sometimes, we hear these things. Oh, it sounds nice. It sounds good, but it's literal.
yeah. It is.
It's
It is. It
literal.
is. It
It is.
is.
It is.
And that's why you have to
Right?
really safeguard, or you had to really hold close to your association and those things, because I guess
Correct.
in transitioning from Tizik to Ken Simmons, or Kenneton Simmons,
Right.
you
Yeah.
probably needed to distance yourself from the company that you was keeping initially.
Of
And
course.
my partner Robbie always would tell me, is I love the line. To this day, I still use it. He said, "Those who assemble resemble." And I guess that is
True.
the people influencing
True.
your thought, and then you start to.
True. True.
So, and then I advise you too, if you want to be a millionaire, you want to be this, just line with people who are millions. Line with millionaires,
Of
or line with some fit
course.
men, and you realize you start to get
Of
six pack and abs.
course. Association, your environment is very, very
Yeah,
important.
yeah, yeah.
So
It's
some
critical.
people have poor mentalities, based on their upbringing, and they don't know anything else but poverty and lack, because that is what they have been exposed to. That's their world. But it's so important for men and women, uh, like ourselves, to show them something different by not what we say but how we live.
Right.
So for me, I have no business telling somebody about anything unless I have not proven it in my own life as well.
Right.
We all have goals, we go from one stage to the next. Life is all about progress. But people must see that. So when you speak from a place of truth, a place of understanding, so that yeah, boy, this person is not just that he wants a forum, he or she don't want a forum just to talk, something that they learn, but I have seen the transition, and you and many others have seen from where I was before and now, and I just had to give God thanks and praise to that.
Yeah. I want to fast forward now to you getting into your chosen profession, which would initially be broadcasting, and
Right.
what would have influenced you to go that route, apart from one of the obvious, which would be your father being one of a noted broadcaster himself, Phil Simmons.
Right.
What would have led you in that direction, and what were the steps that you chose or you would have taken to get to be that professional broadcaster with the big voice, the gentleman
Okay.
Ken Simmons?
Well, always people would tell me, but you have the gift of your father, you have the voice, you could do it.
Right.
I never really took it on because at that time early on I was just distracted. I was all over the place. So again, understanding your gifts and talents, working on it, that wasn't not in my psyche at that particular time. I think it was actually being in church started that whole process, and by way of association, thankfully I got to meet some really good people, like JD and Jamie Thomas, who's actually the program director of W107.1 right now in
Right.
Trinidad, right? So that's the gospel station. But before that, they had something called the Perfect 10 on 95.5 FM.
Yes.
So being in the gospel arena, Jamie Thomas would have been the one to listen. Ken, boy, Ken, you have that voice. You have that voice. It wasn't an interest to me to go down that road, but
Right.
it's just a hunch. I said, well, let me take it. Because he keeps saying to me, you have the voice, and
Right.
I took the invitation, and he brought me on overnight, and I can remember that first overnight. I had the voice, but I was frightened. You heard it in my voice. You heard the nervousness in my voice. And from time to time, I remember that. I said, look at that. I said, I'm the same. Well, of course, we transform and we develop. But I had it in me all along. And if at that point in time when I was very scared and I made mistakes and blunders and said, nah, boy, that is not for me, and not continue it, I would not have developed into the person that I am today. So it's not about where you start. It's just start. Just start. And as a just start. Just don't worry about, I wonder if I fail. I wonder if I sound stupid. I wonder if people will laugh at me. I'll lose my money. Just start. That is okay. If you fail, continue again. So yeah, so it started there at I-95, the Perfect 10, and then over a period of time, I got an opportunity to work with Synergy TV to produce gospel programming on
Right.
television called
Right.
Synergy Sundays, a 4-hour
Right.
block. And that
I think
time it was
you had a
revolutionary.
little movie as well, right?
Yeah, my testimony,
Yes.
where they actually did a movie portraying my history and my past and where I've come from and all that. So that was one of the programs out of the 4-hour block on Synergy Sundays. And it was very revolutionary because now on a secular station is a 4-hour block on a Sunday for gospel programming. So I was really happy for that opportunity. And then after time passed, I decided to take my talents outside of the church because of understanding. So listen, God didn't come for the well. He didn't come for those who have it all together. He came for those who are lost. So I took my talent outside. I started to work Boom Champions 94.1.
Right.
And I was on the morning drive there, the taxi stand. And then it started to develop, and being around industry players and getting advice, some people who have influenced me greatly. Of course, my dad, Philly Trill Simmons. Also, Glenn Antoine, may his soul rest in peace.
Right.
Adrian Don Mora has been an influence and a blessing to me. and as of recent, Signal to Noise. So these people, have played along with Jamie Thomas and also Kevin Baker too from Boom Champions. He's the one who gave me the sobriquet, the gentleman. How I would approach and all that, and he would always give me certain advice. So I recognize these people once given the opportunity to state that, along the way, people help me.
Right.
So don't be too proud and too full of yourself that you can't take advice and help from people. We need each other.
Yeah, and I wanna, and strange enough, it would seem to me that your circumstances from Tizik to now all kind of lined up with obviously with you taking action as well, but it lined up because I'm sure you met this girl under your Tizik life, right?
Right,
You didn't meet her in church.
No. No.
Yeah, you didn't go in church to look for no girl.
No,
right.
clearly not.
Right. So you probably meet you in a party, wherever, I don't know. Right. But that led you to meeting Jamie and JD and those guys.
Yeah.
They put you on to the overnight where you was nervous as
Right,
as that.
on I-95, yes.
On I-95. So everything. Sometimes I just wonder if things predestined, and that's why I don't look. Well, my dad actually told me, don't look at negative situations as necessarily what may seem negative initially to work out to be as a life over, because
Yeah.
all these things that you went through kind of led you to being who you are today.
It's a part, at the time, because we looking at right now sometimes, and it may look bad,
Yeah.
but you can't view it just on what it is. And one of my mentors, because I have mentors through books and audio tapes, Napoleon Hill,
Right.
he says in every circumstance, when it's terrible, when you feel bad and low, look, he said, look for the seed of equivalent benefit, which means look for the good out of it. How can I benefit? How can I learn? How can I grow? How can I expand? And your subconscious mind cannot ignore a question. You can't ignore a question. Always ask something. If you want to gather people's attention, if you want to have them thinking, ask a question.
Right.
And that's a technique that I have developed over the years. I always ask myself, how can I do this better? Don't say, well, I can't afford that, because you don't say that. Say, how can I afford this? How I'm going to be able to afford this? What steps do I need to take in order for me to get me where I want to go? What do I need to do right now? What is there available for me? So these things, it changes now your vibration and how you approach and how you do things on a daily basis. When you are confused, when you're hurt, when you're painful, ask questions. That's a number one technique that I do.
Wow.
Right.
I like how you brought up the mentors. How important do you think a mentor would be for anyone on the mission, to get in somewhere or improving the circumstance?
Oh, very important, very important. And sadly to say, I lacked mentors, physical mentors, people who were right there. I know a lot of men, but they weren't inspiring me in that way, right? A lot of people who helped me along the way, and I appreciate that. But when I looked at them holistically,
Right.
they weren't doing it for me. So the majority of my mentors, mostly all of them, are the ones who have left their legacy through their books and tapes and teachings. So I read. That's why I read. If there's any habit that you would want to develop to transform your life,
Right.
is reading. Audiobooks is fine, I do it, but actually reading, there's power on those pages. Writing, don't leaving things to your memory, writing things down. So having a mentor is extremely important. I learn life generally, greater things and how to do things in a greater sphere and a greater approach by things that I have read.
Right.
And would you believe I would, in my mind, again we were talking about imagination. Imagination is so powerful. I would ask Napoleon Hill or Wayne Dyer or Jim
Right.
Rohn, how would you approach this? Well,
Right.
how Jim, how would you approach this? And call him by first name, Wayne. How would you do this? What do you think I should do? Napoleon, if you were in this situation, what you would have done, and have a conversation. No, to people would say, but this is mad.
There's madness going on here.
This is madness.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
remember, we have forgotten how to communicate. As a child, how is it that you would how would it, before you learn a language, you communicated through feelings, right? Well, the child, something wrong, with all that. So feeling is a language. So I would want to communicate with them to find out. Say, but this song a little foreign, this song weird, but it's not. It's not. You're tapping to that source. So sometimes I wouldn't hear it's like, okay, so there's answer back. No, it's not that. You get a hunch. Right. Something comes, because seek and you shall find. There's a part that you have to play. Ask and it is given. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. So there is something that you have to do first, right, in order for cause and effect. So in order for something to happen. Yeah. So you have to do something. And that's the problem with some religious people. They pray. And nothing wrong. Right. I endorse prayer. Right? But it's true. Right? And then you have to do something. So actions is very, very, very important. And for me, prayer, and what has happened, how I was praying before and how I'm praying now is very, very different. Feeling is the prayer. Neville Goddard has mentioned that, and he could, for those who've never heard about him, you could listen to him. He said, feeling is prayer. So you have to feel it. So sometimes we feel terrible, we feel awful, and we are praying with our lips, but what we vibrate or what we feel, it counteracts that and knocks it out. If we understand quantum physics and understand the laws of the universe and laws of vibration, we'll understand that we won't get our prayer answered. So you have to feel it first, like as if as if the person's already healed, as if you have the money already. I am happy, and then you're going to attract it. So feeling, and that's a sense too. Not just that's our sixth sense, feeling, because how you feel is what you attract to yourself. So mentorship is very, very, very important, extremely important. So find yourself a mentor.
I think you're right, and then it gives you perspective as well, because you again, as I said earlier, if you want to be a millionaire, hang around millionaires. Reason being, you yourself may not have come up in those circumstances, so you don't have a clue as to how to go about it. You want to be a radio personality, try and network and meet these guys to let them inspire you, at least to advise you along the steps how you should take, as opposed to just liking it and watching it from a distance, I suppose.
That's right. And for those who still listen, you're telling me that, but I don't know any millionaire personally. But that is why through the books, read people's biography, right? Spend time, listen to their audio tapes. And in my car, I don't listen to radio that much. He said, well, no, I would come in here and there, and then I have my audio tapes in my car. I want to feed my mental diet, because if it goes as it is in the natural, so it is in the spirit. You're feeding yourself things that will build you up, build up your faith, build up your courage, build up your understanding. You want to do that. Your mental diet is very important.
Yeah, man. I think very I think a lot of times we really we leave, as you say, your mental diet up to other influences. So you just throw on the TV, you leave it on the radio, and nothing. I mean, you are a radio connoisseur, you are a radio personality, and you understand the importance of it. However, you're still subject to whatever these individuals putting out at that point. So you really should take charge of the things that you consume. I guess eating, which you would definitely know about, eating and mental, I guess your mental and spiritual diet. I wanna kind of.
I'll say this before you go for. I'll say this. Your health is simply your state of mind reflected through your body.
Wow.
That is simple as it is. Your health is your state of mind reflected through your body.
Wow. I never thought about that. So, and it
Yeah,
makes
it
perfect sense.
is.
Yeah.
It is. It is our habits, our state of mind reflected through our body. So if you have ailments, you lack energy. We try to put the cart before the horse,
Right.
but it has to start here. That's why a lot of people, we start hot and sweaty, cold turkey. Yeah, but I need to get, and then we don't follow through when they go and
Right.
get stuff because we have not fixed here first.
Yeah.
We have to view our health differently in order for it to consistently be a part of our life.
Yeah. And so that is exactly where I wanted to kind of lead it into. Moving from 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 radio and whatnot, and getting into fitness, and now starting the boot camp, the grit fit, right?
Right.
How much did that play into your what you had already kind of set up for yourself then, in terms of,
Well,
could you have seen this playing?
no, I didn't. I didn't. And it's just a prime example, as we were mentioning before. Sometimes bad situations, or what we view as bad situations, turn out to be a tremendous blessing.
Right.
While working on radio and doing that, I was preparing at the end of 2012 to look good on the road, and the gym that I was a part of the time, the gym owner says, I feel you have what it takes to compete in the sport of bodybuilding. There's a new category called men's physique, and you think you'll do well. And again, just how I am, just asking myself, I wonder if I could do it. I will do it and take up the challenge.
Right.
When I look at my life, I just do it. Sometimes we overthink certain things and never get nothing
I had
done.
to get it right, boy. I had
Just
to get the
do it.
supplements, and I had to get the
Right?
thing, and the
Yeah.
good clothes, and
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and all that. So there are times that I have done something that I have failed miserably. I've felt embarrassed.
Right.
But that is pale into comparison to the blessings that I've got when I took action. You understand? So I took up the challenge, and I prepared myself, and in 2013 I competed, walked on a national bodybuilding stage, competed for the first time, placed second in the country. 2 months after, I did the senior championships. I placed second again, and I got an opportunity to represent Trinidad and Tobago at the Central American and Caribbean Bodybuilding and Fitness Championships.
Nice.
So I competed for a few years, and then I decided to stay away from the competition, and I registered the business, but it wasn't active, Grid Fit, right?
Right.
And in 2016, I was working at a radio station, MD 104.1 FM, and a lot of internal foolishness was happening, and politics, and I left. As a result, I left, and I left at the time where I now got a mortgage. I didn't know how I was going to pay my bills,
Wow.
what's going on, and it was a little low point in my life because I was doing very well on the radio. So I was like, what I'm going to do now, right?
Yeah.
And as a result of that 2 years off of the radio, just a few months after, I said, what do I have? Okay, what do I have remain? And I said, listen, let me continue to train. I wasn't as fit at the time. I was still okay, but I was not fit. I said, you know what? I'm going to go back into the gym. I'm going to get extremely looking good, fit. I'm going to take on clients, and that's how I'm going to get my income. And I first started off being an example. So I started posting up videos of me training.
I remember that
Training,
time.
right? Training. And then saying, if you want to get in shape, contact me. One client turned into two, and then throughout the day, I had plenty clients. In so much I had to turn away clients.
Wow.
So I used what I have. But sometimes, if you go to the gym one day, Ariane, you will go to the gym one day. You ain't gonna see no difference. A week, you ain't see no difference. My body hurting,
True.
But you're ready. You saw. You ain't seeing nothing. But
there's a waste of time, money.
that action prolonged over a period of time, you are going to see the changes. And that's where people fall short. You register, and it sends a message to your subconscious mind. Listen, I'm registering the actions, what I want to manifest in my life. I am doing it because this is how I want to be. I don't just want to eat broccoli and carrots one day. I want to eat it every day. Right? Or as much as possible because I want to be a healthy individual. So out of not being on the radio to do what I love doing, knowing that I was born to communicate, right? And to do that, I found a way to develop a business, and hence I launched Grid Fit. I said, listen, okay, I could only serve so much amount of people being a personal trainer. How can I add and expand my services where I can serve more people? Because I have a philosophy is that you will never increase your wealth unless and until you increase your quality and level of service. So now I had a quality, but I want to increase the quantity. How can I serve more people now? Because I want to, to be able to make more money, right? And because I'm providing greater service to a wide amount of people. So I say, let me do a boot camp. Let me do group training. So I could still provide the personal training and group training too as well. So I can train more people at once. So I'm able, right? So hence the reason Grid Fit, and I did a nice little media tour, and things were going well. And I was just at that time I wasn't listening to radio at all because I didn't want to feel heartbroken, right? I didn't, and I just left it. I said, and then I started to read much more because I had the time, and I learned certain things. And I said, and all the things that I learned throughout those 2 years, I said, Father, if you give me an opportunity, a platform, I didn't limit it to radio. I said, if you give me a platform, I would share with whoever would want to listen some of the principles that I have used and I have learned along the way to transform my life in every season of my life. And 2 years after, Vice City 105 opened up. So now I'm back on the radio, and I have my own business and own company as well. So sometimes we are placed in situations for us, to develop, to become that individual we were meant to be, and not just go and say, I'm defeated, I can't do nothing. You can do something. Just what you have in your hand, I get a little excited because we're thinking about it.
Because it's beautiful and it's true. And I think you're right. We always, we tend to think the stars had to line up, the planets had to align, everything had to be perfect. I want to do this, but oh gosh, boy, I ain't had the thing yet. I ain't had this yet. That didn't line up good yet. The money ain't come.
That's excuses. That's fair. That's excuses that we tell ourselves because we're really afraid of failing. Fear of failure, fear of criticism, and fear of failure. Those and two major ones.
How important what is your how do you look at failure? How do you perceive failure? What is your definition? Or how does failure impact in your life?
I'm glad that's a very, very good question. Failure. Because I had to learn that, and still I'm learning because nobody wants to fail. If you're extremist, you want to win. You don't want to lose.
You want to win all the time.
You want to win, but that's not life. Just that realization that you can't. You won't win all the time. So for me, again, like Napoleon Hill. Okay, if a bad situation, okay, how can I benefit? How can I turn this into a great testimony? How can I be an example, right? To say, listen, and think about those who are looking on, who are looking for inspiration towards you. So for me, I look at all those factors. It's like, not to say, well, you're doing things to please people, but I have decided to be a mentor to others because I didn't find a physical one myself. Right. So eventually I want to document everything in books and audio tapes, and of course what we're doing here now in podcasts. So many years after, so today is the 16th or the 17th. I lost in track of the days. Boy, is it 17th?
Boy, everything's kind of tying together.
Right?
Yes, Monday come Wednesday and Friday. It is 17th.
So it's 17th of 2020. So somebody probably looking at this now 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, and say, wow, look at look what they're doing. Look what their discussion was at that time of the COVID-19 pandemic. right? So again, it's to leave a legacy, and I recognize the value of this is because when I go on YouTube, on that side of YouTube to inspire my soul, I am thankful to those who have left that body of work for me to be inspired, boy.
You're right.
You understand?
That's the truth.
Long after they're gone, you inspired me in my room, tears running down my face, and I wanted an answer. And you spoke life to me, and that inspired me to do great things, boy. You know, so that keeps me feeling it's like, there's an opportunity, you know, and look for a seed of, but it sometimes it hurts, sometimes, oh gosh, you know, but then understanding if you know what to do in order to raise your vibration, or to feel good now, because your feeling determines what you attract. So when you feel like really bad, like for me, I would like go and play some music and sing and dance. I love to dance. I love to sing. You know, I don't take myself too seriously. I can have a serious side of me, but I love to whine, like real wine a boy wine. You know, I love my reggae. So I like that. I want that these things make me feel good. So somebody might say, why all that? You know, I thought he's supposed to be a Christian. You know, this you're a sinner, but you're judging based on you don't know my heart.
Right.
You know, so my understanding of life and how I approach it is that you don't judge things by face value. You don't know. You know?
Yeah, and I think a lot of times going back to failure, you're right. Nobody want to fail. Failing don't feel good, and it wasn't meant to feel good. But I always tell my son, I say, look at failure as necessary for you now to learn and to grow and adjust to suit when necessary. And sometimes it is teacher maybe you needed to rethink what you were doing and how you were doing it. And you know, and move forward from there. But I was having a discussion once and with my old man actually, and we were saying if we were to get every single thing we wanted one time, life would be so mundane. It would be, and it would. I think you would go crazy because you would have no drive to do anything. You would just be, all right,
correct.
I need the Benz.
Correct,
Boom, Benz show up. All right, and we would have no drive to accomplish, to strive. You know.
Yeah.
So what would your thought be on you know, building yourself up and to drive and to work through the challenges without knowing how it go turn out?
Right. You see, if you look at all motivational speakers, people who seek to inspire others, they will always tell you having a definite purpose, having a goal. Or Simon Sinek says why you do what you do, right? You know, if your motive is very fickle, it is hinged on other people's opinion, you wouldn't continue through the hard times, through the test of times.
Right.
So that understanding of why you're doing what you're doing has a major role in continuing and pressing forward in doing it, you know, and even in like real difficult times, you know, you're really tempted sometimes to give up, you know, but if strongly you feel in your heart that this is the direction, okay, I may have to change the approach, but I may have to change my method of how I'm doing it, but I know exactly what I want.
Right.
And that is where we fall down. We don't know what we want. We are influenced by everything that is trying to get our attention, and we question. I don't know. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Wow. So we don't know what we want. You have to know what you want. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want out of life? What's the kind of man you want to be in life? How do you want to be remembered long after you have left this earth? When you have lived, you know, when people think about you, how do they think about you? What mark or legacy you want to leave? So again, from that standpoint, it keeps me all right. Yeah, boy, let me stick to my goal, right? And then another major part of it too has to do with your health, right? Because if you don't have no energy there, you can't express enthusiasm. If you're listless, you're tired, your toothache is more important to you than all the starving people or children in the world. Your toothache, you ain't studying nothing else. You can't help nobody.
Yeah.
You can't help nobody if you. So again, your health is very, very important. And when if we see that link, and what helped me to become a disciplined individual, because in order for you to achieve anything of significant value worthy to be mentioned long after we have left this earth, you have to have self-discipline. And what is self-discipline? Self-discipline in simplistic terms is control of your thoughts. Not to say, okay, I have discipline to get up and ride or to jog every morning, or have the discipline to practice this craft. It's here. Control of your thoughts. So I wouldn't allow my thoughts to think on the negative stuff and how it, what could go wrong, but I'm gonna place my thoughts on what I can do right now.
Right.
So it is very, very important in terms of that, in terms of getting the outcome, to control your thoughts. Very, very important.
So how you moved into the health aspect, which I think is extremely important, and you find most successful people always make it mandatory that they have some regime going on in their life, if it's to work out, gym, or some training or whatever. So, and that's true, to get that energy and to also put yourself on a certain level of strain, and it helps your mind too, But how, as well, now you are vegan or you're vegetarian?
Well, vegan.
Right, not vegan.
The correct term is pescatarian. I hate that word.
Pescatarian. All right.
Yeah, that's the person. I only eat fish.
Right.
So vegetarians don't eat fish, right? But vegan is extremely strict. Hopefully, I'll reach that one day.
Right.
But right now, I'm a pescatarian. I only eat fish and all the veggies and all that.
So why that transition to fish then? What would have been
because I've moved away from how my body looks to I recognize the true strength. The muscle that we really want to strengthen is here. You understand?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So when I'm strong here, everything else is gonna fall in line. So what I recognize is that the hormones in the meat and the dairy and all that, I wanted to consume foods that are high in nutrition, that is good for the pineal gland, that is good for my brain, cognitive function. And as a result, I decided, listen, let me stay away from that. And as a result, I am sharper. I'm remembering more. I'm flowing better. So, and I'm still strong. I'm still agile, still very much vibrant. And is another example of me questioning the status quo, because we know life based on what they tell us. And what if the things that they have taught us have manipulated us and lied to us and kept us like a puppet on a string?
Well, boy, I mean, sometimes it's to serve their own purpose, eh? You need
right.
to sell them chicken.
So you question things, though.
That pork.
Yeah. So again, it and what is and it's how I view food as well. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say, well, I eat clean 24/7. That's a lie. I don't. Sometimes, I love my curry, I love my little doubles, and but I understand my body enough so that it would not take me away from a balance too much. Because life is about balance. Life is about balance. It's about balance. Yeah. So anybody who telling you, any fitness trainer telling you, boy, eat clean, that is realistically, that can't happen. If you're competing towards a goal and say, listen, I want to compete and I have a goal to do, okay, you manage for a period of time, but that you can't sustain that for any long period of time.
Yeah, I got you. And I think I as well, I probably am a semi-pescatarian. So I don't,
okay.
I might eat fish once or probably twice for the month.
Right.
Sometimes it might be a little more, but that's it. I don't eat any meat. All that. Don't really. I might touch a little dairy. I don't drink milk. The only thing I will eat, I might eat. I love cheese. I don't know. That is the only thing I can't
Right,
get rid of the cheese. Right.
right. Right.
But I think what initially happened to me as well, the discipline to sharpen it, just the discipline to say, you know what, I am not eating this meat. Even if I'm hungry, I will strengthen my mind enough to say, no, Arian, you will find something else to consume to keep you going then. And you're right at the sharpening because when I dropped, I was already kind of slim, but I dropped
Right.
weight and what I put on was more, I started getting a little cut up and things, my mind was
Right.
sharper.
Right.
So for me, yeah, I saw the benefit, and I've probably cut out the meats about 2 years, a little over 2
That's
years.
very
now,
good. That's very good.
You know, so
Very
yeah, it takes some work. It takes some work.
It helps. It helps. So if we recognize that this temple, because our body is a temple, if we treat it properly, and it will respond to us how we want it or how we intended for it to function.
Very true.
So it's very, very important. Your health in terms of achieving and making progress in life, you have to take time for your health.
Yeah, man.
Right? You could function, but not for too long without paying attention to your health.
Yeah, or you wouldn't be functioning optimum, or as
Correct.
close to optimum.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So I wanna ask you the last few couple questions before we look to wrap up. And this is generally what I want to get an idea of from our industry leaders or industry professionals. In terms of vision and goal setting, right? How would you set goals to realize it? Is it like you just say, I want to be this, or you want to be this and you start itemizing what it would take? And how far ahead do you set your goals? Because I want to know as well, where do you see yourself? So it's a two-part question. Where do you see
Right.
yourself in the next 3 years? Because I
Okay.
think 3 years is a time that could
Yeah.
have a lot of change, you know?
Yeah. For me, I again, you should have a major definite purpose in life, but there are always minor goals that will lead you to a major goal, right? So you need to know the kind of individual that you want to become, the legacy that you want to leave. How
You keep
do I
saying
want?
every time about that legacy, real important thing.
That is it. I mean, it's Bob Marley has long gone, but his legacy, how he could live on. You know, so what impact that you would want to make, right? How you want to be remembered. Now, not everybody is going to be remembered like Bob Marley, but in your sphere of influence, you know, people who have lived and experienced you will say, listen, this man, you know, left a powerful legacy through your children, through your community, through your nation, through the world, right? So then you would have individual. Okay, what steps do I need to take in order to get? You have to identify your gifts. Okay, what do I have available to me? What do I have? You know, and then you need to know these things in order for you to take action, because you can't be working in the wrong area and then it's not leading you towards your major definite goal. So once you identify certain things, for me, I journal. I'm always aware of what I consume before I go to sleep and when I get up, because that time your subconscious mind is most impressionable, right? In Job, he says, I'm just paraphrasing, is that in the night when deep sleep falls upon men, he seals their instructions in Job. So your sleep state, when your conscious mind is at rest and your subconscious mind is open, that is where sometimes the great inventors, they get up in the middle of the night and they start to write.
Yeah.
Right? Because they have been thinking and meditating on something for so long. So for me, I would have, yes, minor goals, and I would say, listen, okay, for this year, I would write it down, because writing it, don't just leave it to your memory. Have a vision board, like myself. You could have it right by a bed where it's near, and have images, have pictures, that will send a message to your subconscious mind. So you like for me right now, I could show you on my glass in my washroom area.
Right.
I have a dollar bill and I put some zeros in it, a million, right? And I have the money comes to me easily and effortlessly. And sometimes if I see a quarter in the ground, I would pick it up. Money comes to me easily and effortlessly. So I would keep painting that picture and all over through my room because I set up my environment to win. You have to set up your environment to win. Your bedroom or anywhere in the house that listen, this is my sanctuary. This is my place where I feel inspired. I have posters, I have quotes, I have things to remind me of the person that I want to become.
Right.
So that's what you need to do. Surround yourself with that on a constant basis, right? As much as possible. So that's how I set goals. So again, individually different, but that's how I do it. I have a morning routine, right? That because if you look at the biography of every successful individual, they have a way how they start the morning and how they end the day. Very important. I call it controlling the book ends, right? So there's a particular way that the book ends, right? Right, that's a term that I use. It's controlling the bookends. So you want to make sure, again, as I mentioned before, the subconscious mind is most impressionable at that time. Right. So for one of the things, because I have a philosophy, and we should have a philosophy that guides your life, laws that you set, and principles and standards that you set for your own life. Right, write it down so it's more impressionable. So one of the things that I seek not to do is an hour before and after. Right, I try not to look at my phone or I didn't know social media, because even at that time sometimes I'll be on YouTube listening to stuff. So I wouldn't, and even though that's social media too as well. Even if I usually might be on YouTube, but I'm listening. I'm closing my eyes and I'm listening to a teaching or some meditation music or something like that. Right.
So do I.
So I would do that at before. So I don't look or be first and all the last of the day. I don't have a mind with like, shares, and comments and all that. I don't want that. So it's important for you to surround yourself with what you want. So that's how I set goals as much as possible, whether it's short term or long term. For the short term goals, in your bedroom, in your space where you work often, little reminders. Have something in your wallet that reminds you of your goal, because sometimes our mind drifts during the course of the day.
Yeah, you forget, you get caught up.
You forget. Doing, right? So little reminders. Like I have a little souvenir that I took back from St. Lucia, a little turtle that reminded me of the experience, things that I carry from me from time to time. So little reminders that you can have to keep it in your psyche, in your present moment. You maybe you want to be focused on your goal. So that's one. Where do I see myself in 3 years? In 3 years, I see myself being a better established entrepreneur. I don't know if that's the right term, but I'm seeking to grow my business, because So for me, I want to be able to offer, and how I do the business of fitness, even in a greater way, and I have ideas now to take my brand globally, and it took a pandemic for me to drive me in that direction. Right. And I constantly ask myself, how can I do it differently? So I won't tell you exactly how I'm going to do it, right?
Right. But it's to catapult the business. Even
yes. So in 3 years, I want to see that being established on a global scale, on a wider scale, right? Not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but regionally and even globally, using the platform that is provided for us, like YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, right? And apart from that, in 3 years, whatever, again, it's just a progression for what I'm doing in terms of motivational speaking. I want to be, it should be on a wider scale in 3 years. No, you said 3 years. No, I have a 5-year plan. So within 5 years, give and take. I want to be, traveling the world.
Nice.
Being an example of a successful businessman, and also to be able to tell people the principles and how I made it along the way. So hopefully,
Beautiful.
3-5 years from now, I could pull up this clip and put it side by side and
Yeah,
say,
man.
see, look, you remember when I said it then?
Yeah.
At 17th of April 2020, 3 years later, look, as a result,
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just to close, where would you give an advice to the listener who might be in a position that they want better for themselves, they want to realize something, but they either don't know how to start. Yeah, just that. They just don't know how to start. What would you advise that person, that young man, young woman, mature person, whoever, at whatever
Okay.
stage in their life? What would
Okay.
you advise them, or what you think they should be doing?
Right. Well, off the bat, develop an insatiable desire to learn.
To learn.
Develop an insatiable desire to learn. Become a student of life. Yeah, develop an insatiable desire to learn, because the day that we stop learning is the day that we stop growing. So don't feel that you know it all, you have it all together, nobody can talk to you. Be humble. Develop an insatiable desire to learn and become a student of life. Don't go through life closed-minded, because a closed mind cannot receive anything. So develop an insatiable desire to learn, and to be more specific, what you ought to learn. There are 3 things that we should fundamentally seek to learn. One of them, we need to learn how this world operates. We need to learn the laws of the universe. We are being hurt. We are in pain, not because of somebody fighting we down and because of haters. It's because of our own ignorance, lack of understanding. An example of that is that one of the laws of the universe is the law of gravity. And it matters not whether I am a good person, I give to the poor, I help people, I love the Lord, or love my God. If I jump off of that building, I'm going to break my neck off, or die, or damage myself badly, because I've violated the law. And many of the people who claim to be children of God are being hurt because they are violating universal laws that govern the universe, right? So you have to learn how the world works. Learn the law of polarity. Learn the law of vibration, which states that everything in the universe vibrates. Nikola Tesla, who is responsible for all the major technology that we experience today, he says, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of vibration, frequency, and energy. Right? So learn these things. So yes, read your holy book, read your Quran, read your Gita, read your Bible, but read other books that gives you instruction and gives you the wisdom and knowledge of how this world operates. So that's one thing you have to learn. Secondly, you need to learn people, because you cannot go through life fulfilled, happy, fulfilling your purpose without the cooperation of people, without other people. Right? So you need to learn what drives people, what motivates people, how to get along with people, because no man is an island, no man stands alone. And on your deathbed, you would not be thinking, oh boy, I had cars and houses, I got awards. Fundamentally at that stage, you would think about, the love that you have for the people around you, and the love that you've expressed, and the love that you felt during the course of your life, and were you happy? All right? And that has a lot to do with people too, the family, the legacy that you leave, your children, and all that. So people is very, very important. Leaders of industry understand teamwork. And most importantly, that's the two. Third one, most importantly, you need to learn yourself. Very, very much important. And
That might be one of the hardest ones, though.
you understand? You need to learn yourself. And each aspect of it, I'm just giving you a bare information on it, but each one of them we could go in depth. That's like a whole show for each one of them, but primarily, fundamentally, you need to learn yourself, because I cannot give of great service if I don't know what I have, if I'm not working on myself. Jim Rohn says, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. because in order for you to receive money or any influence within the marketplace, you need to be of value to the marketplace. We don't get paid for time. Don't study the minimum wage and we protest. I want a wage increase. You could do that, or you can make yourself more valuable, right? Why it is that somebody will choose you instead of somebody else is because you bring more value to the marketplace. So your value is high, so people will pay more for you, right? So become more valuable, and you will find your income and your economy will get better once you keep working on yourself, skills, and keep developing yourselves, understanding it. So yeah, love yourself, work on yourself, learn.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Wow. So there you have it, people, ladies, gentlemen, man, woman, child. We got the insight from this profound gentleman here, Mr. Ken Simmons, who in 5 years is going to be taking Good Fit globally, along with
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
And Ken, I really want to tell you thanks for making the time coming in on this 17th of April 2020 in the midst of this COVID. It's from home, and blessing us with this information and blessing First Step with your insight and your knowledge and all that. I really appreciate it, Ken.
Thank you.
From the bottom.
Thank you very much. Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. And you're one of my colleagues and friends who I have admired too as well. I must say that. We have a kin spirit. Even though we don't communicate every day, we don't need to, because we're operating on the same wavelength. And I'm really proud of you, man, and continue doing the great work with your family. I see while you're doing the podcast, wife in the back, doing her thing and representing.
Yeah, man,
so much love
Same
to you
thing
and the
with you,
children.
and your wifey as well. They 100 with your business.
Yeah. That's important. Oh, that's the next topic.
Remember the story you said she jump on you to take bullet when someone comes.
That's the next story. That's the next story.
We can talk for next hour again, and
that the kind of person that you choose to be with has a lot to do as well with how you function and how you achieve in life too. Your life partner, really important. But that's the next time. That's the next time. You can always talk about that the next time.
I'm gonna leave you to go and eat your fish.
Thank you very much, my brother. Right?
Yeah, brother. Take care. Be safe.
All right. Take care, man.
All right,
Thank you. Blessings.
Yeah, man.